So I think companies will start to mix and match between screen scraping in certain pieces of information and using APIs where APIs are available.
Hello, and welcome to the Bankers Masterclass series in association with Lloyds Bank on how the second iteration of the Payment Services Directive will change the European landscape. I'm Joy Macknight, Transaction Banking and Technology Editor at The Banker, and in this first part of this Masterclass series we looked at the extended scope of the directive as well as how it will change the competitive landscape for banks in Europe. In part two, we're looking at the innovation needed to successfully deliver on PSD2. So I'm joined today by David Ellender, who is Head of Platform Innovation for Global Transaction Banking at Lloyds Bank. Thanks for joining me today, David. So David, what are the primary use cases for PSD2?
So we believe there's four main primary use cases. The first one is around consumption and publishing of account information. The second area is around push payment products, so the ability for a business to pull payments from one of their clients. The third area is around data insights and data aggregation. And the fourth area is around private APIs. So going backwards, private APIs is very much around the point of one of our clients connecting into the bank via a very specific connection that the bank and the client have agreed.
And when you say APIs, you mean application program interfaces?
Application program interfaces, definitely. The third area around data insights, comparison websites. This is the ability for comparison websites to pull information from their clients, from their banks, aggregate that information together and push best of class information back out to their clients. That could even move into comparison websites actually offering services to their clients for the best product, creating virtual banking structures behind those types of services and offering best of class interest products to their particular client base. Second area around push products. Amazon at the moment rely on people using debit credit cards for their purchases. In the future, with a push payment product, they could sign up their clients. They could request the payment from that underlying client's bank. The money would move immediately, give certainty to them, means the service can be delivered quicker. Obviously, consumers would need to be protected around the credit card protection they get today, but the regulator's talking about how they look at protecting the consumer. And the final area was around ingestion and publishing of cash management. Historically, corporates have done their cash pooling and sweeping capability via SWIFT with intraday balance pools and physical movement of monies. In the future, it could well be those capabilities are provided via APIs as well.
Okay, and so in terms of the future role of APIs, obviously, people are talking about APIs eating the banking world. Do you think that's correct in terms of the assessment of what APIs could do?
I think that the banks actually seize APIs, build APIs from their clients, working with their clients to provide the right information. They're the banks that will actually progress with the technology that comes and embracing the technology rather than fearing the technology.
Okay, and there's been a lot of controversy around the practice of screen scraping, which is when a company uses a computer program to take data off a website. Do you think that practice will actually continue under PSD2?
I believe it will, primarily because not all of the information will be available via APIs. So some of the information comes from non-banks. Where you need to get that information, where it isn't coming from a bank, you're still going to need to do screen scraping. Plus, the APIs that will be available won't cover all of the areas that will be available under PSD2. So I think companies will start to mix and match between screen scraping in certain pieces of information and using APIs where APIs are available.
Okay, and then my last question is really around the key technology challenges for banks trying to implement the PSD2.
I think there's two main challenges. One is around security and the security that's used to authenticate the consumer of the API and making sure that's consistent across all banks so that we make it as seamless for clients to actually get the information they want from across the banks. And the second area is around the operating model. So historically, banks use technology, whereas going forwards, banks need to become more of a technology provider and the way banks use the resource at their disposal is a new way of thinking which needs to be embraced within the banks.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your comments, David. I really appreciate it. And in part 3 of this 4-part masterclass series, we're going to look at how immediate payments is going to act as a catalyst for banks to really rethink their payment strategies in the context of PSD2.